I need all the wins, yeah. Ain't no L's, I gotta get a no call and quits, yeah. Gotta keep on moving no matter how hard it gets, yeah. Better move out the way, cause I'm coming with harder hits. My head is as hard as a brick, but I'm harder than all it is. You better move, you might get knocked out, knocked out. You better move, you might get knocked out, knocked out. You better move, you might get knocked out, knocked out. You better move, you might get knocked out, knocked out. My heart on my sleeve. Shield my greed. That's how I get it. Success ain't no giving. Some days I don't eat, I don't sleep. When I'm focused, I'm dangerous. Down, wonder when I'm anxious. Ain't no limit till I tank. I'm running on fumes. The opposition don't amaze. The roads racing through the pavement. Get your hands out of my bag. I know this because I've been in it. I don't need the brag. I guess that's what happens when you taking care of your business. But some family, you do the math. I'm out of my pocket. Houston, we got a problem, man. Perfect, let them watch me. Elevating, got them nauseous. Cause I'm the pilot in the cockpit. Nose diving in the house. And woo! Watch how I get ahead. Watch how I get ahead. Watch how I get ahead. Woo!
It's time! Welcome to DFS by the Numbers with your host, Brady.
Better move, you might get knocked out. Knocked out. You better move, you might get knocked out. Knocked out. You better move, you might get knocked out. Knocked out.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to DFS by the Numbers. This is best bet for UFC Austin. Really looking forward to it. We are doing this show a couple days early. Wanted to get it out of the way. I'll be in attendance for the Saturday card. So instead of me not being here, we're going to do it a couple days early there. So if you're watching on the replay, what is up? Please be sure to leave a like, subscribe to the channel as well. We'll kick it around. We'll start with you, Weezy. Weezy, are you looking forward to this 14-fight card?
Definitely. Love this. From a betting perspective as well as from a fan's perspective, it's a great card. A lot of great fights. The women's fights aren't fantastic, and I don't really have any angles on those fights. But the other ones, I think there's a lot of good spots. So I'm looking forward to seeing what you guys think.
Yep, cannot wait. We got Erik as well. Erik, what is up? You looking forward to the card?
Yeah, I am. This is a pretty good card, I think. You know, a lot of times with these cards, you look at the first few fights and you're like, who? You know, and like we actually have name value like almost all the way down on this one. So yeah, it should be fun.
Yep, this card is stacked from top to bottom. How can you not be excited for some Jasudavicius going against Natalia Silva? We got Narco as well. Narco, what is up? You looking forward to the card?
Yeah, man, it's actually a pretty good fight night card. I'm looking forward to some great fights on this card. Very competitive, even though there's some lines that are kind of wide. But yeah, it feels like a good competitive card.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, you mentioned a bunch of wide lines, a bunch of big favorites. 10 of the 14 favorites are minus 200 and greater. So not a lot of closely lined fights. So we'll see if we can find some spots on this card. Let us shout out the chat before we get started. Again, guys, if you guys can please leave a like, subscribe to the channel. I also did link down Erik, Weezy, and Narcocop's channel in the description. Go check them out and give them a sub as well. We got Chris in the chat. We got Brandon in the chat. What is up, Dana White? And we got Rainey. Hopefully pronounced that somewhat right, saying let's go indeed. I say we get into it, guys. We will start with the very first fight of the night, and we will go with Kyle Dawkis going against Roman Dolidze, and we will start with you, Narco. What are you liking for the first fight of the night here?
You know, I like fight goes to decision. It's minus 120. Both guys durable. Both guys are primarily grapplers, and you know, Dolidze is pretty much a decision machine at this point. You know, last 3 fights have gone to decision. I know he had a bunch of stoppages prior to getting into the UFC, but as the level has gone up, his finishing upside kind of seems like, you know, heel hooks and stuff like that are definitely not going to work against Kyle Dawkis. So, yeah, I mean, I see Dawkis winning this fight. To be honest, I think he's the cleaner striker. He's the better striker. And on the ground, I think his submission skills are right there with Dolidze, if not better. So, yeah, I think fight goes to decision, a good part of the contest. So minus 120, I think is pretty good.
Yep, I'm right there with you. I went with the over 2.5 and got hit a little bit. Yeah, I'll go with the fight goes. Minus 120 is still there. It looks like the over 2.5 is now minus 175 on Bet Online, but I'm right there with you. I think it goes to decision. I think both guys are extremely tough. I would be shocked if there was a knockout on either side. Kyle Dawkis, great chin. Roman Dolidze, very good chin as well. Both guys are very good grapplers. I think it kind of cancels out. I'm personally picking Kyle Dawkis. Do I want to lay the minus 265? Not really, and that's kind of the case with a lot of these fights. There's a lot of favorites that I do like, but a lot of these lines are a little bit too wide. So I like Dawkis to win. I think fight goes to decision minus 120. I really don't see a finish either way here. So give me fight goes minus 120. Don't hate that angle. Weezy, what are you liking for the first fight of the night?
I just placed a 1.2 unit bet on the fight goes to decision. And let me tell you what the prop template is saying about this fight. Between Dawkis and Dolidze, we got 10 UFC fights. Only 2 of them have finished inside the distance. One of them was a no contest. The other 7 finished, went to decision. So we're looking at a 70% decision rate for these 2 guys at the UFC level. In addition to that, they're both primarily submission artists, and they're both black belts. So you don't really see one of them submitting the other. I don't think Roman Dolidze is ever knocking anybody else out at the UFC level again. That knockout over Ismagulov was lucky. And Dawkis doesn't knock anybody out. He has no knockouts on his resume. So minus 120, fight goes. You can revel in the fact that, basically 7 of 9 of these guys' fights that weren't no contests have went to decision. So the implied probability of the line is only 54% right now for fight goes. So we're getting a nice little edge over the books there.
Sounds good. And speaking of the prop template, me and Weezy will be going live right after this live stream for Probability on the MMA Engine channel. I put the link down below in the description, so make sure you guys tune into that as well. But Erik, what are you liking for the first fight of the night here?
Yeah, I'm feeling pretty much the same as you guys. I do think the fight probably goes to decision. As far as picking a side, I guess I pretty much agree with where the line is at. I think Dawkis is pretty much the better fighter everywhere. I think he should win this fight. He's in like minus 260 or so. He's right in that range that I probably would still use him as a parlay piece. If you do like Dolidze, I think a lot of people will use Dawkis as a parlay piece, possibly like at the last minute. So if you like Dolidze, I'd probably wait because I think you'll get a better line on him. But yeah, I do like Dawkis here.
Looks like we're all on the same page there. Let us move on to the next fight. We have Phil Hawes going against Winn. Erik, I will stick with you. What are you liking on this fight here?
I don't know. This is one that I've been going back and forth on. Like I do like Phil Hawes to win. I mean, I do think he's the rightful favorite, but Winn is, I've been hearing good things about Winn, about what he's been doing in his training and how he's been looking. And I noticed that you can get Winn by decision in the range of like plus 400 to plus 500. I feel like if you feel like getting a little spicy with it, that's a spot that I don't mind. I also don't mind looking at the over 2.5 here, which last I looked was right around even money. But yeah, I don't know. I like Hawes to win, but Winn, by decision at like plus 500 is it's got my eye a little bit.
Yeah, for me, I'm kind of going the opposite way. I do like Hawes quite a bit here, and I'm actually going to go with Hawes to win inside the distance at plus 125. I really don't like this matchup for him. They were supposed to fight over a year ago. I think it was the first time it was booked, and I had a really big bet on Phil Hawes. The fight got rebooked a couple times, and hopefully it does happen here. But yeah, I think Hawes kind of runs through him here. I think it's a really bad matchup. Winn's going to be very undersized. Phil Hawes has a wrestling background in his own right. And if Phil Hawes can keep this on the feet, I think the striking is going to be much in favor of Hawes. The power of Phil Hawes. We saw that Winn was struggling with the striking of Gerald Meerschaert. He was getting hurt and tagged up by Meerschaert, and then Meerschaert kind of clubbed him, subbed him there. I think Hawes knocks this guy out and honestly does it in the very first round. So if it does get out of the first round, I guess it could get sketchy. Hawes, he does tend to slow down as the fight goes on, but I think Hawes does get him out of there personally in that very first round. So Hawes inside the distance, plus 125. Don't love the price tag, especially where it's at now, minus 295 on some books, minus 260. Give me the inside the distance there at plus money. I think he starches this guy. Weezy, what are you liking for this fight here?
Yeah, I think Hawes is going to starch the shit out of Winn. It's going to be an ass shaving. The Winn, what he does really, really, really well is wrestle. So I'd be willing to bet Winn pretty much any time when he's going out there against somebody who can't wrestle. Phil Hawes is a junior college national champion. The level of wrestling, Winn might be better than Hawes, and he probably is. But you're looking at a guy who's like at a 9 on a scale of 1 to 10, wrestling against somebody that's an 8 or an 8.5. And then you look at every other, mixed martial arts statistic, and Winn sucks basically at everything. He's small. He's got no reach. He's got no power. His stand-up is shit. His cardio is shit. Where does he win this fight unless he out wrestles this dude for 15 full minutes? I think Hawes is going to touch him. I think the second Winn realizes he can't out wrestle Phil Hawes, he's going to look for the fucking door, and Phil Hawes is going to show it to him, and probably in the very first round.
Sounds good there. Narco, what are you liking for this fight here?
Yeah, I mean, I actually like the over 2.5. It's minus 105 on DK. Duran Winn, first of all, like this guy wanted to quit MMA at a certain point, and I guess he somehow got the fire lit up again, and his Khabib he's training with Khabib and all this other stuff. But the one thing I will say about Hawes is I just can't play a guy like him, because to me he's very fragile. And not that Darren Winn is going to knock him out, but I think Darren Winn is going to actually implement a lot of wrestling, a lot of cage pushing. And the one thing we will say with Darren Winn is he's tenacious when he's going for these takedowns. He does not stop. Even though he gasses, the guy is still going for it. So what I see, like looking at this fight, I kind of envision like him gassing, but also Phil Hawes really gassing, trying to stop these takedowns. And that's the issue I have here. Like, Hawes minus 275. How can you play a guy like him with that price? I know you guys played him inside the distance, which makes a little bit more sense. But Duran Winn is pretty durable too. I mean, he's taken some big shots against Arroyo in that fight. And, Hawes does hit different, but I just feel like this fight's going to go over 2.5. I mean, Dawkis controlled Hawes on the fence for over 4 minutes, I believe. And I think Darren Winn can actually cage push and try to get this guy down on the cage. Not that he's going to be able to hold him down. I just feel like there's going to be a lot of grappling. And with that, I like the over 2.5.
I like it. I like it. Some disagreement there on that fight. Let's see what happens. Should be a fun fight. If it does even happen, we got to see if Duran Winn does show up. First of all, we'll move on to the next fight. Yeah, this is a really weird one. We have Cody Stamann going against Eddie Wineland. I'll stick with you, Narco. Is there anything sticking out to you on this fight here?
So honestly, I like fight doesn't go. It's plus 125. I know Stamann, he doesn't have, finishes in the UFC, but the guy actually does hit pretty hard when he throws. And we know how freaking fragile Wineland is. I mean, he's getting knocked out. Like, if you look at that punch from, who was it that knocked him out cold? It was the Sean O'Malley. No,
oh,
Sean O'Malley. It wasn't even that hard. I mean, Sean O'Malley didn't even sit down on that punch, and he absolutely went out with his eyes rolled back. And then you get Castaneda, and again, same thing. It was basically a one-punch, knockout. And this guy's chin is completely gone. And the thing with Wineland is he's going to keep coming forward, and he's going to try to go for it himself. And I honestly think, this fight doesn't go to the decision. So plus 125, I'm going to take a stab.
Okay, yeah, I'm feeling that as well. I feel like it's kind of a trap. I see Stamann by KO here is plus 270. I would like a little bit better of a line for a guy that has never finished anybody in the UFC. But like you said, Eddie Wineland, he's almost 38 years old. He has no striking defense. His chin does not look great at all. Could Cody Stamann go out there and get his first knockout? I'm leaning towards yes. I wish I was getting a little bit better of a price, but I guess he's minus 600. So plus 270. I think that would be the one thing I would play, if anything, on this fight, but it's a fight I'm not touching. It's a fight I'm going to sit back and watch. I cannot get to Stamann at minus 500 in this fight, but I will pick him to get his very first finish here against a 38-year-old Eddie Wineland with not a ton of confidence. Erik, you like anything for this fight?
Frankly, no. Yeah, I mean, I'm having a hard time with this one. Just look at the line. Like, Stamann's like minus 500, minus 600 range. I think that's probably warranted at this point. I do think he should win and possibly even win pretty easily. I was looking at Wineland by KO is at plus 700. Like, if he's going to win, that's the only way it's going to happen. But I don't think Cody Stamann has ever been KO'd. That's one of those things you could sprinkle on to have some fun, but obviously not very likely at all. But yeah, I hadn't really thought about the possibility of Stamann being, catching Wineland and winning by KO here, but that's a possibility. So considering that, either one of them is potentially capable of doing that, I don't mind that under that you guys were talking about. That's potentially what I'd look to, but yeah, there's really nothing that I like on this fight at all.
Yeah, I did see some people talking about that Wineland KO out there, and it looks like it's plus 850 on DraftKings. Definitely a long shot, but plus 850. He does throw some power. Weezy, is there anything sticking out to you on this fight here?
Yeah, how trash this fight is from a betting perspective. Wineland's, he's old, he's washed up, he's chinny, but then you got a guy like Stamann who just isn't finishing anybody at this level. And I'd see the Stamann inside the distance prop. Stamann inside the distance against anybody with a pulse should be like plus 700. And it's actually like less than plus 200 here. So it's just, I can't touch this fight. The way that I would go is I would just say, I'm going to look at the previous data and tell me that Cody Stamann really doesn't finish people or get finished. So I'm just saying it's going to decision. Fight goes to decision. Minus 135, I think, on DraftKings would be the way I would play this. But I'm not playing this. I'm not betting it, keeping my money far away from it. This is the exact archetype of fight that I won't touch with a 10-foot pole. An overpriced favorite and an underdog where there's very little to like about him.
Yep, cannot disagree there. I'm not touching this fight. And speaking of not touching a fight, my goodness, we have Gloria de Paula going against Maria Oliveira. I mean, I was looking through the prop to try to give something out here, but there's literally nothing I like. I mean, the more I looked into this fight, the more I kind of do like de Paula to get it done. I think she's the better striker. I'm not sold on Maria Oliveira whatsoever. And I also think that de Paula should go in there and go for takedowns. She actually went for 5 in her last fight against Belbita. She was able to get 1. I don't think Oliveira can stuff a takedown. I don't think she has a get-up game. So I think de Paula, I mean, if I had to do anything, and this is going to sound crazy, it probably would just be de Paula as a parlay piece at minus 275. Like I said, I'm not sold on Oliveira. I don't think she's UFC caliber. And you could argue the same thing for de Paula, but I mean, there's no props that I like. I don't like de Paula by decision. I've seen Maria Oliveira quit before. She's been submitted before as well. Just give me de Paula as a parlay piece. I do like her to get her done. Minus 260. I'm not playing this fight, just a heads up. But if I was forced to play it, it probably would be de Paula to get it done. I do have somewhat weird confidence that she does win this fight more often than not. Erik, what do you like for this fight here?
I feel the same way. I do like Gloria de Paula quite a bit here. I mean, there's a really clear path to victory over Maria Oliveira in the wrestling if de Paula were to look to go that route. Like you said, we've seen Maria Oliveira quit. I'm also not convinced that she's necessarily UFC level. So I do like Gloria de Paula here quite a bit. I do like potentially using her as a parlay piece. But there's always that classic approach of looking at like, okay, we've got a low-level women's MMA fight here, and we can get one of those fighters at like plus 230, plus 240 range. Like, I think long term, if you just go ahead and grab an underdog that big in these kind of fights, you're probably going to make money long term. So even though I don't really like Maria Oliveira in this spot, I couldn't fault someone for potentially taking that underdog shot just because it is a low level fight that's, potentially a lot of variance and anything could happen. So yeah.
Absolutely. Like, these are the types of spots where you go in very confident. At the end of the night, you end up crying, looking yourself in the mirror, breaking stuff, busting your TV with a bat. These are the fights that have typically got me in the past. So I'm not touching this fight. Weezy, I think you might need to get out some oranges here for this fight because my goodness, nobody should be betting this.
Paul Pierce in the chat just said, "Gun to my head, you shoot me."
Oh,
like basically the gun to my head bet here is that you're just going to shoot me because I want to die a responsible gambler. So, this is just not, I'm not doing it. I echo pretty much everything that you guys said. I think de Paula should probably comfortably win this fight, but we know we've been around the block a few times, and we know that when you lay minus 250 on a 6-4 low-level women's fighter, those are the ones where you bust your TV with a baseball bat. And, and maybe you should bust your own head with a baseball bat, or maybe your Uncle Weezy should beat you with a bag of oranges until he juices them. But I'm just going to say draw. I'm staying away from this thing. I'm not betting it. I don't see any reason to like Oliveira here. I really do think Gloria de Paula cruises, but let's hope for a couple of fence grabs here or an eye poke and a draw.
Or maybe they're both so bad that the judges just score it like a 10-10 round each time. Like
9-9 rounds. Neither one gets 10. It's 27-27. Go back to your locker room and cry.
I think that could be on the table here, honestly, in the next fight as well. Narco, are you liking anything for this fight here?
You know what? Narco's new thing is stay away from low-level women's MMA. That's it.
It's beautiful.
And this is the low-level women's MMA. I am not touching anything in this fight. I don't like any side. I don't care what the hell the odds are. The only thing I would ever play in women's MMA, low level, is the over-under, something like that. But I'm not touching sides anymore, man. These girls will burn you. And, looking at de Paula, minus 275, like what on earth is going on? But I still wouldn't bet Maria Oliveira at plus 220. If I was to give one play, I do like the Paula side a little more. It's minus 110 by decision. I don't know if she finishes Oliveira. I know, she's quit against that fight on Contender Series against, the UFC fighter. But Oliveira survived Tabitha Ricci on the ground for a long time. And I just feel like the Paula by decision, minus 110, maybe. But please don't play it.
Yeah, I'd recommend not playing this fight as well. But we'll keep moving on. If you guys have not hit the like button, be sure to hit the like button. We have Danny Chavez going against Ricardo Ramos. Weezy, we'll kick it off with you. What are you liking in this fight here?
So I am looking at the fight goes to decision prop for this one. Let me get it up on the prop template here. Fight goes, I've got sitting at minus 180. That's about a 64% implied probability. But when you look at these guys' UFC fights, we've got 4 of 12 of them have finished inside the distance. So 8 of 12 haven't. That's 66%. So at 64%, we're getting a little bit of an edge there over the books. And, Chavez has only been finished once in his career. Ricardo Ramos has been finished 3 times, but I don't think Chavez is winning this fight. So I'm going to bet on the durability of Chavez here, and the fact that Ricardo Ramos really isn't knocking dudes out unless he lands like a spectacular spinning elbow or something. So I think fight goes minus 180. I don't know if I'd straight bet it, maybe throw it in a prop parlay or something like that, but that's the way I'm looking at this one.
Yeah, it's minus 165 on DraftKings there. For me, I'm going you're kind of the same route. Like, this is one of the many cases where, I think Ramos wins the fight. I like the fact that he's younger. He's going to have a height and reach advantage. I like the volume. I like the grappling. I don't like the low volume of Chavez. I don't like the cardio of Chavez, but I think this fight is going to play out a lot closer than the line does indicate. Yeah, minus 340 for Ramos here. I don't like that. If anything, and I don't have a bet on this fight as well, it's going to be Ramos by decision, which looks like it's minus 105. I see plus 100 on some books as well. I think this fight does go to decision more often than not. I think Ramos does win based off of volumes and mixing some wrestling as well. I'm with you, Weezy. I don't see him finishing Chavez. Chavez has a very good chin. Chavez a black belt and BJJ in his own right. So, just to improve that price tag of Ramos, instead of laying almost minus 300, round of pick him for a decision. I don't hate that, but again, not a fight that I'm overly excited to bet on. Erik, is there anything sticking out to you on this fight here?
Yeah, I'm pretty much agreeing with what you guys have said so far. I think, Ramos has got 5 inches of reach here. I think he's the better fighter pretty much everywhere. Obviously, we're seeing that reflected in the money line. I don't really like an underdog shot on Chavez here. That Ramos by decision, you said that was around minus 105 or something like that. I don't mind to look at that. If you can get Ramos, in the range of, I'm not even sure what he's at right now, like minus 260, something like that. If you can get him around there, I don't mind him as a parlay piece potentially. I do think he's, pretty solid to win here. But overall, this is a stay away from me. But I think Ramos definitely should win this one.
Narco, how you feeling about this one?
Yeah, I'm on the opposite side. I actually really like Chavez here. It was just plus 250. I guess it's down to plus 240 as I look at it now. But, Ramos is not that guy to cover minus 300. I mean, he's just not. Chavez is extremely durable. He has very good takedown defense. If you're to tell me, Ramos can get takedowns and stuff like that, then I would be a little more concerned. But standing up, Chavez has a really nasty calf kick. Ramos is there to be calf kicked, and Chavez is not a bad striker. I think he's a good striker. He's actually better technically when it comes to striking, but his low volume is a little worrisome. But I'm just not very high on Ramos, man, to be honest. And if he can't land takedowns here, this fight is going to be extremely close in my opinion. So I'd rather take the plus 240, 250, and even a split decision prop on Chavez is plus 2,000. So I would recommend sprinkling a little something there.
Yep, can't hate on it. Like I said, a lot of these lines are very wide this week, and this is definitely one of them. Don't hate the shot on the dog there. We'll move on to the next fight, though. We have Court McGee going against Jeremiah Wells, and I will let you kick this one off. Erik, what are you liking for this one here?
I did actually bet the over 2.5 on this one. I can't remember what line I got on it exactly, but my basic breakdown for that bet is basically just that Court never finishes anyone and no one ever finishes Court. Yeah, I'm just going to leave it right there.
I like it. Short
That
and
is so
sweet.
beautifully said right there. So succinct. I love it.
I like it. Yeah, I like that play. I'm going to go with Court McGee to win by decision, which looks like it's still at plus 175. Like you said, Erik, Court McGee has not finished anybody in a very, very long time. I don't believe Wells has ever been finished as well. I feel like it's going to be a competitive fight early on. I actually like what I see from Wells. This guy has a lot of power. It's just, Court McGee is the more experienced fighter. He's fought the better competition. He's the much more technical striker as well. Wells, he doesn't have much technique on the feet. He'll kind of just like rush forward with a bunch of hard combinations, and maybe he can knock out Court McGee. But like you said, Erik, I mean, Court McGee does not get finished. He's only been knocked out once. He has 9 decision losses. This guy's tough as nails. I think McGee kind of grants one out and wins the decision, plus 175 there. Weezy, how you feeling about this one?
Yeah, same thing for me, man. Court McGee by decision, plus 175. And earlier in the week when the over 2.5 dropped in this fight, I found it at minus 140. So I bet 1.4 units to win 1 on the over 2.5. And my read was exactly the same as Erik's. Court doesn't really finish guys, and he is incredibly durable. I think Court McGee is going to probably win this one easily, to be honest with you. I think Wells is a little bit overrated. And the one thing that I think the betting community consistently does and does way too much is underrate Court McGee's grappling. This guy's grappling numbers are absolutely sickening. Over a very large sample size against the level of grapplers that this guy has faced, he's spent less than 6% of his UFC cage time being controlled by his opponents. He's out-controlling his opponents at almost a 5-to-1 ratio. And when he does win those clinch exchanges and grappling exchanges, he absolutely dominates his fights. I think Jeremiah is going to see a much better level of grappling than he's used to here, and a much better level of conditioning than he's used to. And I think Court's going to put it on him.
Sounds good. Narco, how you feeling? You on Court as well? Or are you liking something else here?
Yeah, you know what? I'm a little opposite again. I actually like fight doesn't go to decision here. It's plus 130. And it's not so much, Court McGee. It's the fact that, man, when you look at the, Court McGee's, last, 5 or 6 fights, he's either been knocked down or he's knocked down his opponent in almost every single one of them. And with that being said, Jeremiah Wells hits very hard. And the guy is one of those guys that just, he either kills you or you kill him trying. And I think he's just the epitome of a guy that gasses out if he doesn't get you out of there. Because when you watch these fights in the UFC of this guy, I mean, he's going 100 miles per hour from the minute that bell rings. And if he does that and he can't get Court McGee out of there, I think Court McGee is going to finish him. So plus 130, I think is a decent price. I know you guys feel pretty strongly about this fight going to decision, but man, just gives me that vibe that someone's going to get put out. I don't know who it is, but and based on the stats of late, it's either like Court McGee is dropping someone or they're dropping Court McGee. So it's something to look at.
No, I mean, I see your angle. And yeah, like you said, Wells does come out there and look for that early finish. Maybe Court can get him late. I'm curious to see what the Court McGee round 3 is. Wait a second. Court McGee round 3 is plus 2,900.
Where?
On FanDuel Sports.
I played that. I played round 2 and round 3. Like, I think it's a must play against the guy like Wells.
I don't know how you lay that line out there. I mean, that's how Court McGee gets a finish. Is
like he almost finished Brahimaj. Like I remember having the McGee decision bet. I was sweating because he almost finished Brahimaj there.
Yeah.
2,900. No way. I mean, I might have to sprinkle that. That makes no. I was not expecting that, to be honest.
I'm doing that too.
Guys, don't everybody in chat, don't rush to go bet it. Let these guys put their bets in.
Please. Oh my!
It's the least you can do for all the content we provide.
Oh my gosh! All right, so that happened. I'm glad I saw that there. Plus 2,900. There we go. All right, so we will move on to the next fight. We have another 1-800 gambler fight, and I will kick this one off. I couldn't imagine betting on this fight ever. I couldn't imagine laying this price on Jasudavicius. A lot of people are on Silva, and I tried to find a reason to bet Silva here as a pretty decent sized dog. I mean, there's just a lot of unknowns. We have not seen her fight in a long time, and honestly was not too impressed with her. You know, she's had a bunch of submissions. I think she's finished her last 5 fights by submission. If I was to bet anything in this fight, and if I do bet this fight, Weezy, I expect to be hit with a sack of oranges until you juice them and you drink the juice over my unconscious body there. But if I had to bet anything, it probably would be that Silva scorecards equals no action plus 160. Like, this actually makes no sense to me. I don't see in what world Jasudavicius finishes Silva here, unless Silva's like a complete fraud bum, and maybe she is. But Jasudavicius, I don't think she has much knockout power. She's obviously not going to submit Silva. And if this fight does finish, you got to believe it's on the Silva side, and it's probably like an armbar from guard situation. And if Silva does get on top of Jasmine, like, Silva probably could submit Jasmine. I'm still not sold on the grappling defense of Jasudavicius. I mean, go watch the Elise Reed fight. Elise Reed was sweeping her left and right there. So yeah, if anything, it's the scorecards equals no action plus 160. This line makes zero sense to me. Am I going to bet it? I don't think so. But if I was forced to bet it, it would absolutely be that. Weezy, what do you like for this fight here?
Draw. I mean, dude, I'm not, I got to be honest with you. I didn't even tape Silva. I watched the Joyce Mara fight, fell asleep at the end of the 3rd round thinking that the fight was over. It was a 5-round fight. So, yeah, I don't know anything about this girl, and I'm not sold on Jasudavicius. I like Jasudavicius's wrestling and not much else, to be honest with you. So laying that kind of juice on her, not something I would ever do. And I don't know enough about Natalia Silva to say, I think she's really got a chance to win. So I'm throwing another draw out there. I think this fight probably goes to decision. And since it's low level, we'll hope for a fence grab or an eye poke, and we'll look at the draw.
Yeah, there's a good. My best bet for this fight is I'm not going to be watching, and I'm probably going to go get a drink, maybe get some food. Like, this is where I'm going to get food or a drink here in this fight. I'm not watching it. Erik, are you watching this fight, first of all? And second, what is your best bet?
Now, I know betting on this fight will get you beat with a bag full of oranges. I don't know what being interested in this fight gets you. Maybe getting beat with like a coin purse full of grapes or something. But I am interested in this fight. I actually think it's kind of an interesting matchup. Yeah, like you said, like, Jasudavicius pretty much has wrestling, and that's about it. She's going to have some size here. Silva is much quicker on the feet, a much better striker. I did actually sprinkle a fun little prop here. I sprinkled on Silva by sub. Like, this is a spot where I do think Jasudavicius will be able to get takedowns. I do think she's probably going to spend time on top. And I think the good old women's MMA armbar from guard is potentially live here. So I did sprinkle just a tiny bit, 0.2 of a unit on Silva to find a sub.
I mean, I can't argue that this fight literally has armbar from guard written all over it. Narco, is there anything sticking out to you on this fight here?
Again, low-level women's MMA. But I do like the Silva submission line. I played it for half a unit. It's plus 650. If you watch some of this girl's tape, like, she's constantly going for arm bars. And Jasmine's going to get takedowns. Like, she's going to get on top. And you're giving me a nice price for a girl that actually hunts these things like crazy. And I think Jasmine is not the smartest fighter, to be honest. And I will not be shocked if she gets armbarred by somebody that, you know, from bottom, that's all they do is throw up arm bars. So, yeah, I mean, I'm going to take a shot at plus 650 on Silva by submission.
Yeah, you guys might be talking me into that scorecards equals no action on Silva at plus 160. Like, that line makes no sense. Uncle Weezy, you better get your bag of oranges. I might have to take a shot on that.
Yeah, I'm not touching this one, man. Like I said, I didn't even tape it, so I'm not going to put my money on it. But yeah, I mean, look, Jasudavicius isn't great, so I agree with what you guys are saying on this fight. My money's not going anywhere near it.
Man. Yeah, the only thing, like, if you bet this fight and you lose, like, you're going to feel horrible about yourself. Like, I don't know. We'll see what happens. But we'll move on to the last fight on the prelims. We have an absolute banger of Adrian Yanez going against Tony Kelley. And Weezy, I think you have a bet on this fight, so we'll start with you. What do you like in here? Yeah,
very small bet, just a quarter of a unit. But I found Tony Kelley by decision at plus 800 earlier in the week on FanDuel. And for me, that was just stupid. The one thing that the read on this fight is that if Tony Kelley wants to just stand in front of Yanez and kickbox him, then Yanez will probably look minus 300. But outside of that, I don't see Yanez looking minus 300 in this fight, because one thing we haven't seen anybody do is try to take this guy down or try to put him on the fence. And these are two places where I just know he's not as comfortable, because I know he's lost fights when smart fighters have done that to him. It's just that the guys in at the UFC level, for some reason, want to try to outbox a much superior boxer in Yanez. So I think Tony Kelley's live to win this fight, to make it grimy. He's got really nice reach, and he throws a lot of kicks, so he might be able to maintain distance a lot better than Yanez's previous opponents. And if he's smart and works in with the clinch game, the elbows, the wrestling, I think he can make this very close. And plus 600, plus 800, I'd love to be holding that ticket if this thing goes the distance. I also do have in my greasy 4-leg parlay that this fight does go the distance, because 5 combined losses for Kelley and Yanez in their career, neither one of these guys has ever been finished. So they're both very durable. And, Yanez has got a serious chin on him, and so does Kelley. And since I see this primarily being a boxing match, I think it's a great bet as well. Fight goes to decision, and then I got a little sprinkle on Yanez by decision, Kelley by decision at plus 800.
Yeah, for sure. If you like Kelley, I think that decision is the way to go, especially where you got it plus 800. Like, that makes no sense to me. For me, I'm going to go with the over 1.5 rounds alternative. Not going to quite get to the over 2.5, but I do like the over 1.5. I think it's minus 190, looks like on 5 dimes, around minus 205, I think. On DraftKings, Yanez typically a very slow starter. So right off the bat, I like this fight to get somewhat extended here. And then, like you mentioned, Weezy, these guys are both very, very durable. Yanez never been knocked out. Tony Kelley never been knocked out. Both guys can absolutely take a shot. I think this fight does get extended, and I think that 1.5 does cash there. So minus 200, minus 205, minus 190 around there. Little chalky, but I do like this fight to go over 1.5 rounds. Narco, what do you like for this fight here?
Yeah, I have a bet on Tony Kelley at plus 290. I wouldn't take him now, but I think this fight's a lot closer than this line suggests, to be honest. And Tony Kelley by split decision is plus 2,200.
Yeah.
I think this fight's going to be close, like I said. Yanez by split is plus 800. The guy's been to split decision 4 times. Tony Kelley's been to split decision twice in 10 fights. So, you're getting these big numbers on a fight that I believe is a lot closer than this line suggests. So, yeah, I like the split decision props on this fight.
Sounds good. Yeah, and Clint's saying that the split in general is plus 600, which is very interesting. Yeah, because like you said, good chance it goes to decision, honestly, and if it does, it's probably close as well. Eric, what do you like over this fight?
Yeah, I did bet the over 2.5 here for all the reasons you guys already said. That neither of these guys has been finished. I did not see that split. I don't have a book that has those split props, but yeah, taking this fight to go to split at plus 600, I think is a good bet. Like Weezy mentioned, yeah, if Tony Kelley's still out there for Tony Kelley by decision is still out there at plus 600, I like that bet as well. I do like Yanez to win here, but I think this fight could and probably will play out more closely than those lines suggest. So, yeah, I like the over 2.5. But if I was going to bet a side, I do like that Tony Kelley by decision. I think that, and Tony Kelley by split decision too. Yeah, I think that could very well happen.
Sounds good. Looks like
I want to also mention one more thing that someone Headley won said Texas judging is terrible. So you have to put that into account, because some of these fights, I just see probably 2 or 3 splits happening on this card just because of Texas judging.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. Let's move on to the main card here. Before we do so, if you guys can hit that like button with a sack of oranges, that'd be much appreciated. Also, did link down in the description the channels of Weezy, Narcocop, and Erik. Go check them out and sub to them. We're gonna move on to the first fight of the main card. We have Gregory Rodriguez going against Julian Marquez, and then Erik, we'll start with you. What are you liking for this fight?
Yeah, after doing the tape on this one, I did like Rodriguez quite a bit, and I think he was around minus 160, minus 170 or something when I finished the tape, and I thought that was a pretty good line on him too. And what I didn't realize is that isn't he coming in kind of late here?
Somewhat short notice. Does anybody know?
Okay.
What'd you say?
Yeah, I didn't realize that until today or the day before that this was kind of a late notice situation, 2 weeks or something like that. Maybe, I'm not sure exactly, but that does concern me a little bit, as he can have some cardio issues. So I don't like him as much as I did. I do still like him to win this fight, I think, but we've seen RoboCop slow down later in fights, and we've seen Marquez absolutely come alive later in fights and get the finish. So, I don't mind potentially looking at it. I don't know what the number is. I haven't even looked this up, but I don't mind potentially looking at a Julian Marquez in round 3 prop kind of situation here, because that's something that could potentially play out, I think.
Yeah, Marquez to win in round 3 is plus 1,400. Which,
I don't mind that.
Yeah, it's no Court McGee, but
Right.
2,900. But yeah, plus 1,400. I think that is very much on the table. For me, I like Rodriguez to win here a decent amount. If I knew for a fact that he'd come in here with a good game plan. I mean, seeing Maki Patola go out there and ragdoll Julian Marquez for 2 rounds, I think Rodriguez can absolutely do that. But I don't trust the fight IQ of Rodriguez. I have a feeling he's going to go out there and stand and bang with Marquez. And if he does that, I think he's the better striker. But, I think Marquez is most definitely the more durable fighter. So just because I think Rodriguez is going to come in here with a terrible game plan, I'm actually going to give out the Marquez by KO. We have seen Rodriguez hurt multiple times. He's been knocked out a couple times, got knocked out by Jordan Williams on the Contender Series as well. And like I said, if he comes in here with a trash game plan, there's a good chance that he could very well get finished. So plus 460 Marquez by KO. Don't hate a sprinkle on that. Weezy, what do you like over this fight here? I think
I've got a bet on this fight, 1 unit on the Julian Marquez finish only prop. And it was really just a bet on the stupid durability of Julian Marquez. You watch the tape on this guy. He's not very good. He gets taken down a ton. He gets ragged out by guys who don't really wrestle. But the one thing that this guy can do is just absorb a ridiculous amount of punishment. He's got a heart the size of a truck. He's got no quit in him. And Rodriguez is taking this fight on short notice. I think Rodriguez is live for a sub here. If he gets this thing down to the ground, if he gets on Marquez's back, it's going to be big problems for Julian here. But on short notice, he's shown poor fight IQ, especially in that Petrosian fight. Why wasn't he wrestling that dude? I think Julian, with a 100% finish rate in his wins, and Marquez with a 50% finish rate in his losses, I think if there's a finish in this fight, it's on the Marquez side. Marquez is the underdog. Plus 160, I bet it for 1 unit. I love that bet.
Yep, and looks like that line actually just moved. Looks like just shortly ago. It's now plus 150. So still, decent price tag on there if you do like that finish only scorecards equals no action. Narco, what side are you on here?
Yeah, I mean, I hammered the bet on Rodriguez at opening at minus 115.
Oh, wow.
I have 5 units down on that, but I would not play him at this price right now. However, I'm going to go back to the damn well, and because if it happened and I didn't bet it, I would be extremely pissed off. I'm going Rodriguez submission plus 420. Listen, you guys mentioned it. Like, this guy has terrible takedown defense, and, even Petrosian probably has a lot more resistance than what Marquez is going to give as far as takedowns. So I think, even in that, he was very close in that Petrosian fight, getting a submission. I think he goes back to the well here. I just think, honestly, Rodriguez is better everywhere than Marquez. And the only little bit of concern is the cardio issue. But it's not like Marquez is some cardio machine. So I like Rodriguez a good bit here. And I'm going to take that submission prop at plus 420.
Sounds good. I think he will have some opportunities if he does fight smart. Let us move on to the next fight. This is probably the most highly debated fight I see out there on MMA Twitter. So curious to see what you 3 guys have to say. We have Damir Ismagulov going against Guram Kutateladze. Erik, we'll start with you. What are you liking for this fight here?
Yeah, I agree. This is a hotly contested fight with everybody on Twitter and stuff. This is actually the only fight that I put a money line bet on right away. I did bet Damir Ismagulov. I got him at I think it was minus 160. I think Guram Kutateladze is the more dangerous of the two. Like if a finish happens, I think it's more likely on his side. But I think Damir is just I think he's the more skilled fighter, the more technical fighter, just kind of the more buttoned up fighter as far as his striking and that sort of thing. And Kutateladze is super low volume. Actually, I'm going to throw this out there because it was something that I noticed while I was watching tape. I was watching his tape and I noticed, like, wow, this guy sometimes goes an incredibly long time without throwing a strike. And so I backed it up a little bit And I actually timed, and I have no idea if this was the longest stretch or anything. It was just a random stretch, but I timed how long it was from one strike that he threw until another, and he went 35 seconds without throwing a single strike, which maybe doesn't sound like a long time, but just sit there silently for 35 seconds once and think about a fighter not throwing a strike that whole time. It's a long time. So he can be really low volume. So I think, unless he is able to find that kill shot, I think Damir will be able to outbox him. I don't know if he'll look to wrestle here or not, but yeah, I do like Damir quite a bit in this spot.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I like Damir as well. The only thing that kind of upsets me is he was sitting at minus 148 for a while, and he's currently minus 170 on Bet Online. I need to see the weigh-ins before I get involved with this fight. Damir Ismagulov missed weight by like 7.5 pounds last time he was supposed to fight. The fight got called off. And even in this fight, prior to that, he just did not look right. I think the weight cut is taking a serious toll on this guy. So if he weighs in tomorrow and he looks good, I might take a shot on him, but looks like that line is kind of getting away. Money is coming in on Damir, but we'll see what happens. But yeah, Erik, I agree. I think, the volume is much in favor of Ismagulov. Kutateladze, he's probably the harder hitter, but very low volume there. And I also think that Ismagulov can mix in some takedowns here. Not only did Kutateladze get taken down 5 times in the UFC, but even outside the UFC, the guy's getting taken down. So, I think Ismagulov should be the minute winner here on the feet. I think he can mix in some takedowns as well. And outside of that big shot, maybe Garon not knocking him out potentially, I think Damir gets this one done. I think people are forgetting how good Damir really is. I mean, this guy's 23-1. You don't win 23 times by accident. This guy's no joke. He didn't look great in his last win. I think that's why people are counting him out a little bit here. But if he shows up, if he looks good, if the weight cut goes good, I think it's a very winnable fight for him here outside of him getting clipped or something. But I like Damir quite a bit, but I need to see the weigh-ins first. Weezy, how do you feel about this one here?
Yeah, no bet on this fight yet because I'm waiting for weigh-ins. If Damir does look good on the scale, he makes weight, no problem. I'm going to be betting Damir Ismagulov to win by decision at plus 135 on FanDuel, but I got to wait until I see that because he looked disastrous at his last weigh-in. But yeah, you mentioned it, dude. 20-1 for Damir in his career, and a lot of those wins are in ACA against killer Russians with like 23-5 records. He's a former champion in that organization. He's going to be the far better minute winner on the feet here. Kutateladze, extremely low volume. His path, I think, for Kutateladze is landing a big counter shot here. Outside of that, I don't think he's better anywhere than Damir. So I just got to see Damir make weight. And if he does, I'll be betting him to win by decision here.
Yep, sounds good. Narco, how you feeling on this one?
Yeah, I mean, you hit it on the head. Like, I don't know about Ismagulov and this weight cut. Like, missing by that much is kind of concerning. But looking at his photos on Instagram, like from 5 days ago, he looks a lot more lean. He looks like he's training at ATT now. So I think that's a plus. Like I want to say he was at Tiger Muay Thai for a while. But yeah, he's at ATT now. And I feel like Damir's the side. If he grapples here, he can land takedowns. He can win minutes. Again, though, like I have to see the weigh-ins in order to tell you if I'm going to bet on this guy. And my hand will be on the betting button, if he looks good on those scales.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I just wish that minus 148 was still there, but looks like it is not there anymore. We'll see what the line it does continue to go to tomorrow, though. But we have Albert Durav going against Joaquin Buckley. We have Durav is currently minus 240, Buckley plus 203 there. For me, I think the fight doesn't go to decisions. Pretty underpriced here. I see past the victory for both guys to get a finish. Out of their combined 7 losses, 6 of them come inside the distance. I really don't like the chin of Albert Durav. This guy is very chinny. He got dropped in his last fight against Roman Kopylov. He got knocked out by Ramos on Amiv, and I know it was 10 years ago, but still, like that's a horrible look, getting knocked out by Amiv, been finished by knockout in all 3 of his losses. Why can't Buckley go out here and knock this guy out? I think that's very much on the table. With that said, Albert Durav, very good wrestler when he does choose to go do it, when he does choose to use it. But in his last fight against Kopylov, he didn't go for one takedown the entire first round. It took him till, getting dropped to finally go for a takedown. And when he did, we saw just how good this guy is on the ground. Very, very close to stopping the fight. Great ground and pound, a great submission game as well. Buckley finished in 3 of his losses as well, 3 by knockout. I think Buckley could very well go out here and knock this guy out. I don't like the chin of Durav. I don't like the fight IQ of Durav. And if he strikes with Buckley, I don't like Durav's striking defense. I think Buckley can knock him out. But if Durav fights smart, if Durav gets his fight down to the mat, this guy's ground and pound's no joke. And I think he's going to have a big advantage on the mat. So I think the fight doesn't go to decision. It's minus 190. I really expected that line to move throughout the week, but has not really moved at all. So I like the fight doesn't go. I think it's extremely underpriced because I think both guys went to decision their last time, but I think that changes here. Erik, what do you like for this fight?
Yeah, I'm feeling exactly the same way. I like that fight doesn't go the distance as well. And, this is one of those fights, like, as much as I hate to break a fight down to a binary and just make it that black and white, I really do think it comes down to just, if Durav is able to take Buckley down and keep him down, he should win this fight. If Durav isn't able to get takedowns, he's going to be in trouble. This is one of those spots where it really is kind of that simple, I think. I also don't mind potentially looking at the Buckley by KO. I know it was at plus 300 like earlier in the week. I'm guessing it's probably not quite at that number anymore, so I don't know if it's still as
330
juicy, but oh wow, okay, yeah, oh yeah, I'm always looking at Bet Online for my props, so I always have worse numbers, but yeah, it was at plus 300 when I looked on there. But yeah, I think the fight won't go to decision, and I might put a little sprinkle on that Buckley KO.
Yeah, I mean, why not? Especially if Durav goes out here and doesn't grapple. Like, Buckley has some power, and Durav does not really have a chin. Weezy, what do you think about this fight here?
Yeah, the fight doesn't go, and the prop template's all over it. I mean, these guys are finishing as pros in their wins at 76%. They're getting finished in their losses at 86%, and the overall is 78%. And the betting line right now is at 65.5%. And then in addition to that, 6 of their 8 combined UFC level fights have finished inside the distance. That's 75%. That's a 9.5% edge over the books and a 19.8% edge over the 55.18% finish rate in this division. So, at minus 190, it's still underpriced. If you're looking for a parlay piece, fight doesn't go for Buckley Durav is sweet, because if it stays on the feet, Buckley, tons of power, and Durav's been knocked out in all 3 of his pro losses, a lot of them at 170, by guys who aren't known for their power. And if this fight goes to the ground, man, Durav is just absolutely a savage down there, and Buckley's going to be in a whole lot of trouble. So love the stylistic components of this fight finishing inside the distance, and the data in addition to that, Brady, is telling us that we're underpaying, so we might as well bet it.
I'm glad the stats line up. And just want to remind you guys, I put the link down in the description below for probability. We will be going live in about 20 or so minutes. So check us out there on the MMA Engine. But Narcocop, what do you like for this fight here? Anything?
Yeah, I'm being a little greedy, but I like the fight doesn't start round 3. It's minus 110. You save like 70 or 80 cents, 90 cents in some occasions. I just think I everything you guys said, I just think it might end a little earlier. So if Durav gets on top, man, Buckley's very, very bad off his back, and Durav is extremely dangerous on top. So I honestly see a finish. If he gets a full mount, I think Buckley's in big, big trouble. And on the other side, if it's on the feet, Durav is so damn hittable on the feet, Buckley can easily knock him out. So minus 110, fight doesn't start round 3.
Yeah, I mean, I like it. I like that line as well. Minus 110 near pick'em there. I like it. I like some violence. I'll move on to the next fight. We have Kevin Holland going against Tim Means. My goodness, Kevin Holland now minus 340. And yeah, to be honest, I was really close to parlaying Kevin Holland earlier this week. I had my finger over the trigger. Decided not to because at the end of the day, this is Kevin Holland. It's really hard to trust him. But my goodness, I really like this matchup for him. Tim Means, he's 38 years old. I don't like how Tim Means has been reacting to shots his last couple fights. And Kevin Holland hits very, very hard for the division. And I guess you could say Tim Means does have a path to victory in terms of taking down Holland and controlling him. But I mean, look at who is taking down Holland and controlling him. Guys much, much bigger. Guys like Derek Brunson, guys like Marvin Vettori. I think we can kind of excuse that. Tim Means is neither Derek Brunson or Marvin Vettori. I think Holland's going to hurt Tim Means bad. I think he's going to put him out. I think Holland inside the distance is a really solid look, and it's plus 165 still. I mean, this is a guy that's nearly minus 300 on most books. Holland inside the distance, this is a guy that's a finisher. This is a guy that has a lot of power. This is a guy that has a black belt in BJJ. Tim Means has been finished 7 times in his career. So Holland inside the distance, plus 165, sign me up. I will say, FanDuel opened up Holland by submission at plus 1,400 for some reason earlier in the week. It's now plus 700. But yeah, if you got that plus 1,400, which I know Brandon in the chat did, That's insane to me. Tim Means has been finished by sub 5 times. I could see a club and sub, but yeah, Holland inside the distance, plus 165. I see plus 175. I think it's a really good look. Narco, how you feeling about this fight?
Yeah, I mean, I have that plus 1,400. I have half a unit on that.
Nice.
I couldn't believe it when I saw it. I'm like, looking, why is this plus 1,400? And the whole market was like plus 700, plus 600. And FanDuel was sleeping at the wheel. And I played it for half a unit. But as far as, best bet here, I like the fight doesn't go to decision. It's minus 105. Mainly on the Holland side. I think Holland finishes Means more times than not. But, the fight IQ for Holland is always a concern. And that's the one thing that you have to put into capping, because the guy just doesn't fight smart. And, I can't lay that big number with Holland. That's almost impossible. So fight doesn't go to decision. It's minus 105. And for all the reasons you said, Means is his durability, I think, is going.
Absolutely. Yeah, I retired personally from laying massive chalk on Kevin Holland a long time ago. It's been working out well. But yeah, I think he should win this fight. Weezy, anything sticking out here?
Yeah, it's the same thing for me. I feel like Holland inside the distance is probably the best look here at plus 165. So, these guys finish inside the distance, 18 of their 39 UFC fights. And Means has been finished in 4 of 9 losses. And Holland is getting finishes in 6 of his 10 wins. So you take a guy who's almost 75% on the implied probability right now at minus 300, and then you bring it down to plus 165, which is less than a 40% implied probability. It's an over 40% break in implied probability that you're getting just to bet Holland inside the distance. And let's not forget, these numbers that he's putting up, these power numbers, everything that Kevin Holland has done, there's 14 fights at the UFC level, and 13 of them are at middleweight. This guy's moving down now. Tim Means is getting knocked out by 170 pounders and submitted by 170 pounders. Kevin Holland's moving down. So I like him to finish this one inside the distance. Plus 165 is the best way to play Holland here, in my opinion.
Yeah, right there with you. Erik, what do you like for this fight?
I hadn't seen that Holland inside the distance line plus 165. I do like that a lot, but I don't want to just be a broken record. So, Kevin Holland has every advantage that you could want in this fight, pretty much. He has a size advantage, a speed advantage, a reach advantage, age, athleticism. I mean, he's got everything going for him. And this fight has been stuck in my head more than any other fight on this card. I keep going back and thinking about this fight more and more. And, Kevin Holland I can see why the line is where it is because of all the advantages that he has, but I can't stop thinking about Tim Means just being such a crafty veteran who's been in there. He's seen everything. He's experienced everything. And like somebody already mentioned, at some point, Kevin Holland is going to do something stupid in this fight, right? And I just can't stop thinking about the idea that when Kevin Holland does something stupid, he's got a really crafty, smart veteran in front of him who knows what to do when somebody does something stupid. So I haven't bet Means here, but man, if that line gets up any higher, I might have to look at it. That's where I'm at with it. I'm going to leave it at that.
Yeah, Holland is almost a lock to do something stupid for sure. So yeah, I agree though, Erik. I mean, I'm not laying minus 340 on Kevin Holland. I think long term, that's not the best idea in the world. But I do think he wins the fight. We'll see what happens there. We have the co-main event here. We have Donald Cerrone going against Joe Lauzon. This is probably my favorite spot on the card here. I really like the fight. Doesn't go to decision at minus 200. I did bet it last time they were supposed to fight here. And this is a line that I kind of thought would move a little bit more throughout the week. Looks like it is now minus 235 on 5 dimes, minus 215 on BetOnline. But DraftKings still has that minus 200 here. I think it's simple as this. I think Joe Lauzon is very, very live to go out there and get a first-round knockout. That's what he's going to do. He's going to go out there. He's going to try to take off Donald Cerrone's head. I think that is very much so on the table. I really question whether really both guys want to be here, but mostly it's Donald Cerrone. I feel like he doesn't want to be here, and I could just see a scenario where Cerrone just kind of quits in there. I really could see that. I think Joe Lauzon is super live in that first round, but as we see, Joe Lauzon in his career, especially as of late, like when the fight gets extended, he slows down, he gasses out, he looks terrible. He got finished by Chris Grutzmacher after that third round, quit on the stool. And then he also got finished by Clay Guida, dropped him, and then finished him on the mat. Like on the feet, Donald Cerrone is going to have a huge advantage as the fight goes on. But, he's going to have to survive that first, minute, 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes, even 3 minutes of Joe Lauzon. Maybe he does. If he does, I think he does finish Lauzon late first round, early second. But Lauzon is so live in this first round that I think it's really worth, like, if you like Lauzon, or even if you even don't like Lauzon in the first round is sitting at plus 650 still, open up plus 700. Like, that's his path to victory. And would anybody really be shocked if Lauzon went out there like a crazy man and finished Donald Cerrone? No, not really. So I think Lauzon round 1 plus 650 is a very good look. But for me, it's the fight doesn't get the decision. I love that spot. I think Lauzon early. I think Cerrone could be early as well, but more so late first round, second round. I think the fight doesn't go is my favorite spot, but the Lauzon round 1 is really sticking out. Narco, what do you like for this fight here?
Yeah, I mean, I love the under 2.5. It's minus 165. But the other thing you mentioned, and I played it too, it's Lauzon round 1 KO specifically is plus 1,000. I like that a little better than the plus 650 just because Cowboy is very, very hard to sub. Like, I could see maybe a club and sub, but the guy's, I think, only been subbed once, and that was like, 500 years ago. So it's like, KO 1 is plus 1,000. I think Lauzon comes out like a madman almost every fight. And, the other thing I forgot to mention is, Donald Cerrone again dropping to 155 here with a guy that's chin is already gone. I don't trust it, man. Like, that's not good news. I think you go down to 155 this late in your career after getting knocked out by Alex Verono is not a good look. I think he might get knocked out in the first round, like you said.
Yeah, plus 1,000 there. Remember last time they were supposed to fight, FanDuel opened up the round 1K at plus 1,500, which was just insane. But yeah, plus 1,000, still a really good look there. Weezy, how you feeling about this one?
Yeah, fight doesn't go to decision for me as well. It was the fourth leg of the greasy four-legger that I gave out on just the tip. So the greasy four-legger was the fight doesn't go to decision for Cerrone Lauzon. Fight doesn't go to decision for Durav Buckley. Fight goes to decision for Yanez versus Kelley and Court McGee by decision. That came out to plus 1,372 earlier in the week, but some of those lines have moved. But for this fight, yeah, fight doesn't go minus 200. And I like the Lauzon round 1 KO prop. Everything that I'm hearing about Cerrone right now is telling me that this guy is picking up a check and he'll cash it as soon as he gets knocked out. And that's probably what's going to happen in the very first round. So I love the fight doesn't go, though. It's just a nice, safe parlay piece, and that's what I'm using it as.
Yeah, Cerrone does seem pretty checked out to me. Erik, what are you liking in this fight here?
I do have a bet on the Lauzon by KO in round 1 prop. I had a bet on that last time it was booked. If it falls out this time, I'll have a bet on that next time it's booked as well. I only got it at plus 700 because of my dumb bet online. But yeah, my way of approaching this fight is I bet that Joe Lauzon by KO in round 1, and then just keep your finger on the the live betting there. And if that doesn't happen, I think the teeter-totter just tilts more and more towards Cerrone as the fight goes on. So bet that round 1 prop and potentially bet Cerrone live if it doesn't hit.
Yep, absolutely. A good way to look at it as well. Now let's move on to the last fight. We have the main event. We have Calvin Kattar going against Josh Emmett. Narco, we'll start with you. What are you liking for the main event here?
Yeah, you know what? I'm going to sit back and watch this fight and enjoy it. I don't want to pick a side, honestly, but if I had to, it's Kattar by decision plus 155. I think he's the better striker. He's the better minute winner. Emmett has that equalizing power, but, to equalize his power is Kattar's chin because it's unbelievable. He's never been knocked out. He's extremely durable. We've seen Ige able to withstand it, and the thing is, like, Josh Emmett, yes, he gets a lot of KOs. He gets a lot of knockdowns, but when you look, like, honestly, like, 6 out of his 10 fights have gone to decision. Why can't Kattar go to the decision against this guy? And when you talk about minutes, I think Kattar wins minutes here. He's just a lot more volume. He's always going to be coming forward. And yeah, I like the decision prop at plus 155.
Plus 155, Kattar by decision. Erik, how about you? What do you like for this main event?
Yeah, I do like Kattar to win this one. kind of the same things that Narco already mentioned. I think Kattar's going to have the better volume, going to be the better boxer. Emmett's always laughed to find that KO, but I don't think he's going to be able to find it on Kattar, and I think he's pretty much reliant on that to win here. I potentially like Calvin Kattar as a parlay piece. What number was he at again? He's sitting at like minus 225 range. Yeah, I would probably still use him as a parlay piece there. Otherwise, I wouldn't mind if you want to have a little degen fun with it. I wouldn't mind looking at some sprinkles on those, like Calvin Kattar round 4, Calvin Kattar round 5, that kind of thing. I do kind of lean toward thinking it probably goes to decision, but Kattar might be able to start putting that volume on Emmett and slowing him down and potentially finding a stoppage real late in the fight.
Yeah, I haven't looked at those Kattar sprinkles yet. I wonder what they're sitting at. Let's see. Kattar to win in round 3 plus 14. Kattar round 4 plus 2,000. Kattar round 5 is plus 2,500. So, yeah, decent looks there. Weezy, what do you like for the main event here?
Yeah, I'm going Kattar by KO. I think he's going to starch this guy. I just really didn't. I had a bet on Josh Emmett against Ige, and he just did. I wasn't even sure that he won that fight, to be honest with you. So, the fact that he lost to a striker the quality of Ige really bothers me going in here against Calvin Kattar, who's been in there with the best, who's seen guys like Zabit, like Max Holloway, like Giga, Jeremy Stevens, and he's knocking out Jeremy Stevens while Josh Emmett got knocked out by Jeremy Stevens. And he styled on a striker the quality of Giga Chikadze, which was wild. And, and I think Kattar can even use his kicks to great effect here to keep range against Emmett, as he's got that height and reach advantage over him. So I think Calvin's going to get it done inside the distance here. I think he's going to knock this dude out. Calvin Kattar by KO is plus 215, and that is the best bet for your Uncle Weezy for the main event.
Sounds good. Yeah. For me, I'm going to take a shot on some violence here in the main event. I mean, I think we're going to get 25 minutes of guys that hit extremely hard. Obviously, we know the power of Josh Emmett, 11 knockdowns in his last 7 fights. And, Kattar has really good power as well. We've never seen Josh Emmett in a 4th or 5th round in the UFC. And I feel like Kattar, I agree with you. I think Kattar's really going to put it on Josh Emmett. And the later this fight goes, I think these 3, 4, and 5 rounds are definitely live. I think Kattar does catch Emmett at some point, but the fight ends in KO plus 130. You're getting a little bit better on the money line, or better on the fight doesn't go. Looks like fight doesn't goes around minus 110 around there. I would be, fairly shocked if there was a submission on either side there. So yeah, I like the fight ends in KO. I think they're just going to stand and bang for 25 minutes. Both guys have a ton of power, and I think somebody does go out eventually. So, guys, that is about it. We went through 14 fights. I'm going to kick it around. Weezy, you're not there, so we'll start with Erik. Erik, let the people know where they can find you and what you have going on throughout the week.
Yeah, thanks for being here, everybody. You can find me on Erik Bets Fights, my own YouTube channel. I believe Brady did put it down in the description down there. I also put out stuff every week on the Never Hedge Media YouTube channel. You can find me at Erik Bets Fights on Twitter, Erik Bets Fights on Instagram. And then I do have a show every Thursday night called Big Money Bets that I put out. I stream that live at 7 p.m. Pacific, so in about 2 hours here. So after this, after you watch Brady and Weezy do their show, then pop on over to Erik Bets Fights at 7 p.m. and make a whole evening of it.
Let's go. Yeah, tons of content today on a Thursday. Narco, let the people know where they can find you, what you have going on throughout the week.
Yeah, Narcocop on Twitter, Narcocop MMA on the YouTube channel. Tomorrow, it's the Lambo Plays podcast, 9 p.m. on YouTube channel. I also do a recap on Spaces every Sunday at 12 p.m. And I also have my live Spaces on Twitter for the fight watch party every UFC fight card.
Sounds good. Go check out Narco. Link down below in the description for that YouTube, and then check him out on Twitter as well with the Spaces. We have Uncle Weezy. Let the people know where they can find you, what you have going on throughout the rest of the week.
Yeah, you can find me on my YouTube channel, Uncle Weezy. You can find me on the MMA Engine YouTube channel. As a matter of fact, 6 minutes from now for probability. And you can find me on Pub Sports Radio every Sunday for Stat Diggers, every Wednesday for the DFS show, and every Saturday for the Watch Along. And the last thing that we have to do is stack cash tickets like flapjacks for UFC Austin, everyone.
Let us do it. Yeah, guys, find me on Twitter, DFS_numbers, Instagram, DFS by the numbers. 5 minutes. Go check out me and Weezy on the MMA Engine channel. Link down below for probability. We're going to take a look into some of these props, see if we can make some money there. And then Sunday for Stat Diggers, I'm going to be live in studio at Pub Sports, so that's going to be fun as well. So make sure you check that out. And yeah, guys, other than that, best of luck. Should be a very fun card. 14 fights. Hopefully everybody makes weight. Hopefully everybody looks good. And hopefully we get all these fights because all of them are bangers except, the Jasudavicius fight. I wouldn't care if that fight got off. Everything else is a really good fight and definitely looking forward to it. Best of luck, guys. Leave a like on your way out. Subscribe, all the good stuff. And we'll talk to you guys